Good evening, everybody. I'm back. How's it going? Thank you for joining. Hello to everyone in the chat. We got Wise Mama from Orlando. Hello, Care4JCYT from California. And hello, Heidi Butler. I'm so mad about the Tom Cruise stunt coming up. I want him cancelled. Well, that is so in line with what we're talking about today because, as I reported a couple of weeks ago, the Church of Scientology have been engaged in a huge distribution campaign in Paris during the Olympics that are ongoing right now in an attempt to win over some Paris locals and try and claim some sort of legitimacy as an organization that benefits the public. However, Scientology is considered a cult in France. It is on the list of official sects, and the government in France are keeping a very close eye on their activities. And on Friday just gone, Miviludes, which is the French department of the government that deal with cults and coercive groups and sects, issued a warning to the French people about the campaign and warning them to steer clear. So I'm going to read this statement to you and give you a little bit of context. So the Truth About Drugs campaign is part of the Foundation for a Drug-Free World, which is one of Scientology's many front groups that they use to try and claim that they're doing social betterment programs. It is what they claim. It is secular. It is a separate organization. It's nothing to do with the church, but it is sponsored by Scientology. However, it is nothing but a front group. And that is what the French government are warning. They are saying that these leaflets that are supposedly giving people information about drugs is actually a recruitment tactic by Scientology. So let's read what the statement says. This is from the French government website, Miviludes. I've translated it into English using Google Translate, so it's not the best, but let's read what they've got to say. Miviludes has received reports of the distribution of leaflets by the association Say No to Drugs, Say Yes to Life, before or during the Olympic Games in the following cities, Paris, Marseille, and Angers, during the passage of the Olympic flame. The distribution of those leaflets may have been made to individuals in public spaces or in mailboxes, but also to Parisian merchants. A distribution of leaflets from this association was reported in the following arrondissements: the 9th, the 12th, the 14th, 16th, and 18th arrondissement. That means just like an area of Paris, like a district almost. Excuse me. After being alerted to the presence of the brochures in certain Parisian pharmacies, Miviludes informed the Pharmacists Association. As a reminder, it is mentioned on the website of this association, No to Drugs, Yes to Life, that it is in partnership with the American Legal Foundation, Foundation for a Drug-Free World, an international association of information and training on drugs, sponsored by the Church of Scientology and supported by Scientologists around the world. So what they're saying here is this is not a French group. This is an American organization that is all part of the Church of Scientology. Representatives of Scientology propose in particular to convert people on the occasion of a free personality test, the distribution of tracts or brochures, free introductory conferences, courses, and study of Dianetics, the learning of personal development methodology created by L. Ron Hubbard, or any other cultural or humanitarian events. Now, the French government warn, and they are not careful with their wording here. They are very, very clear in what they are saying. Scientology practices present risk of mental destabilization, exorbitant financial demands, and rupture with the original environment, particularly family. So disruption to your family life. Several representatives or organizations of Scientology have been the subject of judicial convictions in France. In 1997, conviction of the former president of Scientology in Lyon for involuntary manslaughter following the dropping of one's body of a follower and fraud. Have to be careful with what we're saying on YouTube because of the good old algorithm. In 1999, conviction of 5 Scientologists for fraud by the Criminal Court of Marseille, and more recently, in October 2013, confirmation by the Court of Cassation of the conviction of the 2 main French structures of Scientology, which are called the Spiritual Association and the Celebrity Center and its bookstore, for organized fraud, aggravated receiving of stolen goods, extortion to fines totaling 600,000 euros, of 4 of its directors to suspended prison sentences and fines for the same acts. And finally, 2 other managers to fines for illegal practice of pharmacy, so practicing medicine without a license. Any new criminal fact brought to the attention of Mivludes will be systematically transmitted to the Public Prosecutor's Office for prosecution purposes. So we have to give it up to France here. The French government are not seeing through, they're not falling for Scientology's facade. Scientology are trying to say, hey, we're doing this great stuff here and warning people about the dangers of doing drugs. And the French government are going, we're not taking it. We know it's Scientology. We know it's a recruitment tactic. And in fact, we warn the people of France not to take these leaflets. Well done to France. If only some other governments around the world can follow in their tracks and make similar statements. The government of France can see through Scientology's disguise. They can see what they're trying to do here. And what Scientology are trying to do is get a photo opportunity. They want PR in France to show the good work they are doing at getting Scientology into the hands of the public. We saw this at the London Olympics in 2012. They hired a big red bus and they drove around London with the Jive Aces, a jazz band on top. It was an open top bus. They were playing music and people were handing out leaflets. Scientology got plenty of pictures of this big red bus in front of major London landmarks at the Olympics. The whole idea is they want to come across as part of the Olympics movement. They want to come across as some organization that's doing good and helping people in the city, and it's all part of the Olympics charade. It is, in fact, not. The Truth About Drugs campaign is nothing but a front for Scientology. And I warned the people of France that this was going to happen a couple of weeks ago. In fact, Scientology were aiming to distribute 1 million booklets in Paris around the Olympics. And reports suggest they have got almost to the goal. They have distributed apparently 700,000 booklets in Paris, and they will continue doing so until the end of the Olympics. They haven't strayed away from the camera. There are some pictures that have come through the woodworks, which I'll share with you now. So similar to London in the Olympics, at the Olympics in 2012, they've had this big red bus with a big banner on it that says the truth about drugs. There are pictures of volunteers handing out leaflets outside Olympic venues. This looks like Les Halles, which is a huge building in the center of Paris. You can see this is a volunteer wearing the Truth About Drugs t-shirt and baseball cap. Here he is handing out leaflets in the same place. They've got some lovely imagery of people handing out these booklets on the street of Paris, and even this one volunteer eating an ice cream whilst handing out the Truth About Drug booklets. Now, Mivludes, the French government organization we just quoted, actually tweeted about this as well, where they further claimed that Scientology, with this Truth About Drugs campaign, are just trying to deceive people. And they actually included a picture of the booklets and warned people against taking them. They also noted that the booklets are based on L. Ron Hubbard's principles of drug rehabilitation and his understanding of drugs, not medical advice. It is not based on science. There is no evidence to back up anything that is claimed in these Scientology booklets, although it comes across as though they do. And this presents a problem for Scientology, considering they have already been found guilty of quackery in France, which is, making up lies and pretending they know about science and medicine and practicing pharmacy without a license. So they're on rocky ground, and it'd be interesting to see what happens over the next few days with it. Wise Mama here is asking, will they arrest the people distributing the pamphlets? I love those pictures. As far as I'm aware, it's not a crime to hand out leaflets. However, if Mivludes do prosecute Scientology for the contents of those booklets, then it would be considered, I understand, a crime because they're handing out false medical information and claiming to be experts in the field, which they are not. So it'll be interesting to see what happens from here and if there is another court case brought about by the French government. Karen here says, finally, a government entity that is paying attention. Why is it so hard for everyone else? Exactly. And that actually brings us to the next story that I wanted to talk about in today's video. And if you've been following my blog, Scientologybusiness.com, you will see this coming. You'll know what I'm going to talk about. And what we're talking about is the purification rundown being delivered to children here in the UK at St. Hill. St. Hill is the UK headquarters of the Church of Scientology, and I was recently shown this flyer that was distributed only a day ago to Scientologists in the UK with a picture of all these children outside the Purification Centre at St. Hill, with the following caption: "The next generation on the Purification Rundown at St. Hill. Come and join them at Ron's home." Now, I think it's important to note that the Purification Rundown is based yet again on zero scientific evidence and zero medical expertise. The Purification Rundown is the first step on the bridge to total freedom. It is something that all Scientologists are required to do in order to achieve the state of clear. However, Scientology vary how they promote it based on what context it is applied in. So the Purification Rundown is the core of the Narconon program that they deliver at their drug rehabilitation centers. For context, Narconon is currently under investigation by the CQC, the Care Quality Commission, and the Charity Commission here in the UK after the Guardian Observer put out a long investigation where they found lots of worrying instances of abuse and mental trauma and distress caused by the people taking the program down in Sussex. When it comes to Narconon, Scientology say that the Purification Rundown is a secular activity. It's not religious. It is a very wholesome, natural remedy, and it's a way of rehabilitating people from drugs. However, the program is exactly the same as the program that you receive on the Bridge to Total Freedom in the Church of Scientology. Now, when it comes to being delivered inside Scientology, they claim it's a religious ceremony. It's a spiritual experience. It's not scientific at all, and it only benefits someone spiritually. Even though the program is exactly the same, the way they market it or the way they respond to complaints and concerns raised by governments, officials, and law enforcement authorities will change based on what they think makes it look better, what they think looks better for them. So, of course, this is something that I raised concerns with West Sussex County Council yesterday. The fact that children are doing this program is nothing short of child abuse. The program entails taking thousands of milligrams of niacin and other vitamins, sitting in a sauna for 5 or more hours a day. And the whole idea is that the vitamins loosen up the drugs and the toxins that are stored in your fatty tissues, and then sitting in the sauna allows you to sweat them out, which means that you are then in more present time and able to confront reality and make progress towards your spiritual enlightenment. Of course, there's no science to back any of this up. In fact, there is no science that says toxins are stored in the fatty tissues, let alone that such fatty tissues can be sweated out after being dislodged by taking large quantities of vitamins. This is why Scientology claim it's a religious and spiritual program rather than scientific, because they have no science to base it on. However, this doesn't stop them from delivering it, and there are a number of deaths associated with the Purification Rundown around the world. All you have to do is Google Narconon or Scientology Purification Rundown to notice the dangerous number. Excuse me, my phone is going off. To notice the number of horrible accounts and deaths and long-term damage that the Purif has done to various people. There are a lot of studies out there, and I've shared them on Scientologybusiness.com that show how dangerous this program really is, especially for children. And this is why I've reported this to West Sussex County Council Child Protection Services and asked for them to step in. There are children currently at St. Hill right now doing the Purification Rundown. It is not safe for children to be taking thousands of milligrams of niacin and other vitamins every single day, drinking oils and sitting in saunas for extended periods of time, especially when the program is administered without medical supervision. Children and adults that do the Purif have to go to a doctor before they're allowed to start the course. So they get a general checkup, and the doctor says, yes, they're fine, they're healthy, they can do the program. But quite often that doctor is the Scientologist or a doctor who has been misinformed and misled by Scientology so that they think that the program is going to be safe. The program is done without medical supervision, and it is administered by Scientology volunteers or workers who have no medical training or certification or other expertise whatsoever. That is why it is dangerous. I'm going to read a couple of quotes here from the article on Scientologybusiness.com, just to give you an indicator of how dangerous this program is. There is a link to this article if you want to read along in the description down below. But let's read here. There is no credible support for claims that large doses of niacin clear toxins from the brain, fatty tissue, or any other part of the body. That is a quote from James Kennedy, who was a PhD scientist who worked for the National Council Against Health Fraud. And he issued this statement in 1991 that continues, "To make matters worse, large doses of niacin are hepatotoxic and could cause serious liver damage. It may also trigger gout, raise blood pressure into the diabetic range, cause itching, flushing, and a rash. Nausea and gastritis and other side effects of large doses of niacin. To subject people to these potentially serious side effects on the pretense they are being detoxified, cleared, or purified is quackery." Now, let's not forget in 1984, the High Court here in the UK ruled that Scientology is dangerous because it is out to capture people, especially children and impressionable young people, and indoctrinate them and brainwash them so that they can become unquestioning captives and tools of the cult, withdrawn from ordinary thought, living, and relationships with others. So it's very clear the UK government have issued warnings, and there's plenty of medical expert advice out there saying how dangerous this program is, and that has been out there since the 1980s. And it is proven the government are aware that Scientology aims to recruit children. And here we are in 2024 with children currently still doing the purification rundown. It is atrocious, and this is why we need government to step in. David Hogg, who is a doctor over in Canada, he also issued a statement a little while ago. I think this was 1981, where he said a patient with unsuspected coronary artery disease who is subjected to the stresses demanded of him in this combination of exercise and sauna stands a significant chance of suffering a heart attack. Now, one thing to note here is, how is anybody going to know if someone is at risk of a heart attack when those who are administering the program do not have medical training or expertise? That's the question. They're putting people at risk of serious health issues. High levels of vitamin D may lead to a sudden increase in blood calcium. This will lead to symptoms of decreased appetite, nausea and vomiting, memory loss, decreased level of consciousness, progressing to coma, and in infants, mental retardation. Kidney damage may also occur, which is often not reversible on discontinuing the vitamin. Bone disease with weakening and fractures also occurs concomitantly. That statement concludes to say that the purification rundown not only fails to deliver what it promises, but may actually be detrimental to the health of those taking it. Earlier this year, the National Institutes of Health published the results of a clinical research study. Now, this had nothing to do with Scientology whatsoever. They were just looking at the effects of niacin on the body. And basically, what it concluded was that niacin, when you take niacin in high doses, the body turns it into a chemical called 4-PY. Now, that is a dangerous compound to have in your body. And this separate clinical study, just on high doses of niacin, ended up concluding that 4-PY, the byproduct of the metabolization of niacin, activates inflammatory pathways that are known to promote plaque formation in arteries. This may increase the risk of major cardiac events. So my question is this to the British government. My question is this to law enforcement. And my question is this to West Sussex County Council Child Protection Services. when so much as evidence exists and has been out there for decades about how dangerous this program is to long-term and causing long-term health effects and issues for people. And considering the government were warned by a high court ruling in 1984 that Scientology specifically targets children and young people, how on earth is it okay for children to be doing the purification rundown right now in East Grinstead? I reported this all to Safeguarding at West Sussex County Council yesterday, and I'm waiting to hear back. I've made available all of the documents I could possibly find in terms of medical research and doctors and professionals talking about the dangers of this program. I've also made available the Purification Rundown delivery manual Scientology are using, which details exactly how much niacin and other vitamins people have to take on the program. And I'm hoping that this will do some sort of, not damage, but I'm hoping this will have some sort of effect on the delivery of the Purification Rundown. It's dangerous for adults to do it. It's even more dangerous for children to do it. So my question is, how on earth has it been allowed to continue for this long? And how on earth is it allowed to be taking place right now in the United Kingdom? That's my question. So those are the two big stories from me. Just a short one. Number one, France, the French government, they're on it. They're warning people that Scientology are trying to recruit people through their Truth About Drugs campaign in Paris for the Olympics. And obviously the second one, we just talked about the Purification Rundown. Let's have a little look at the chat and some of the questions that you guys have been throwing up there while I've been talking. The SP chef, Sam Sudi, how's it going? Overdose of niacin can cause low blood pressure, dizziness, and even loss of consciousness for a period of time. Exactly. Careful JCYT said, I heard high doses of niacin can cause cancer. Anyone else hear that? Yeah, that's absolutely something I've heard before. There's a real lack of research into the impacts of high doses of niacin on the human body. But the National Institute of Health over in the US did release this study only a few months ago that does indicate it does put a lot of stress and pressure on the heart. So it's a dangerous thing. And what makes it worse is these children are doing the program because their parents have told them to. These children are doing this program because they believe, and their parents believe, that this is the best thing for them on a spiritual level. The Scientologists that are doing this and that are selling this course genuinely believe that it is a helpful, beneficial thing. They are being lied to, they are being misled, and they are under the coercive control of the Church of Scientology. And this is why it's really important that government step in to safeguard these children and say, hey, no, irrespective of what the parents think and irrespective of parental consent, this program is dangerous and harmful to the health of the children doing it. That's what I'm hoping for in this campaign. Heidi Butler, Alex, what agency locally is responsible for child protection? There are a number of different agencies around St Hill that are responsible, but what West Sussex County Council have done is created this front door portal online where you can make a report where you express a concern about the safeguarding of a child, and that front door portal then shares the information with the relevant authorities for them to then investigate. I will put a link to this in the description. I've already shared it on my community page, but this is what the West Sussex portal looks like. Worried about the safety of a child? If you're worried, you can report to someone. It gives you all different ways to report, who you can call, Childline and so on. Obviously, if it is an emergency, you need to contact 999 if they're at immediate risk. But anything else needs to go through this IFD portal link here, which is, like I said, it's called the Integrated Front Door. This is the form that I used online yesterday. And you can report a safeguarding concern. So I'll put that link here in the chat for people to see. So that's that one. Let's have a little look at more of these. Heidi Butler, as a teacher in California, we are mandated reporters of child abuse and neglect. Exactly. Heidi Butler also says, any teachers in East Grinstead out there, for sure. Educon confirms here, mandated reporters in the UK are teachers, doctors, social workers, sports coaches, foster carers, faith leaders, and police officers. And this is why I wanted to raise this here publicly for everyone to know. There are children currently being abused at Scientology's headquarters, St. Hill, near East Grinstead. If you are watching this and you are able to make a complaint or raise a concern with West Sussex County Council, I strongly advise you do. And if you are a teacher, if you are a mandated reporter, having now watched this video, you are now obligated to do so. There is nothing about the purification rundown that is acceptable for a child to do. Forcing someone to take thousands of milligrams of niacin and other vitamins, sitting in a sauna for extended periods of time, ingesting oils and drinking CalMag, that is not beneficial to your long-term health. And to force a child to go through it is nothing short of abuse. Phil Jones is here in the house. How's it going? And how many drugs would a child have in their body anyways? Exactly. That is exactly it. Now, Scientology go the extra mile and they go, well, children may not have taken any drugs, but, you know, they may have got sunburn or they may have taken drugs in a past life. And the whole purpose of the purification rundown is to set you up in good standing and almost make a blank canvas for you to ascend the bridge to total freedom. And if you're a child and you haven't got a drug history, then you should be over and done with it in just a week or two. It shouldn't take that long. You'll be fine. That's how it's pitched to kids. There's no point at which Scientology go, oh, you're a child, you've never taken any drugs, you'll be fine, you don't need to do this. No, it is a mandatory step on the bridge to total freedom. Wise Mother, do they really believe you have toxins from a past life? Yes, they do. Absolutely. So, guys, that's it from me. Just a quick one to bring you that news. It's atrocious that these children are going through this program and it needs to be stopped. Irrespective of religious belief, irrespective of what Scientology believe it's going to do for these children, forcing children to do this program is unacceptable and detrimental to their health. So this is one of those cases where the government need to separate the religious belief and the actions and the consequences of those beliefs. I'm not asking West Sussex County Council to review the spiritual beliefs and practices of the Church of Scientology. I'm asking West Sussex County Council to look at the practice of the purification rundown. What impact does doing this program have on the health of the children doing it? Because the answer is none in a positive way. It is nothing but negative to your health. And that's not a question of religious belief or spirituality. That is the case of child abuse. And that's what I'm hoping West Sussex County Council will do. So that's it from me, guys. If you want to continue supporting what I'm doing, I'm going to carry on doing what I'm doing day in, day out. I have Scientologybusiness.com, which is my blog. If you want to subscribe to email updates, you can do that there. I now have renewed the SSL, which means you can access the website again. Thank you very much to the kind person who helped fund that expense, because it is getting pretty expensive over here running a website and doing all of this campaigning. So if you guys want to support, buy me a coffee would be greatly appreciated. That would help me go and get some therapy as well, considering I haven't been to a therapist in several months because it's so expensive. So all of that would be really helpful. But most importantly, sharing, commenting, liking, subscribing is the most effective way of getting the message out there and helping more people understand what is going on. The French government are hoping to put a stop to Scientology's distribution campaign, and they can see through the facade and realize that handing out drug booklets is just a recruitment tactic. Why can't other governments follow suit? And I'm going to keep going until the UK government finally do something about the problem that is the Church of Scientology. Guys, I'm on war footing and I'm not fucking about.